All right, what's up, all you beautiful people? Welcome back to the podcast. So, one of the things I found myself curious about the other day, I was watching an entrepreneur who I admire, I look up to, and I think, hey, he's got some chops. I found myself wondering, I wonder what resources he used or relies upon to become good at the things that he's become good at, right? So, within the context of business, I think there's a bunch of core skills that you need to have, but in specific, the things I think about the most frequently are skills like the skills of finance, like how to read a P&L, how to actually talk the language of money, or the skill of marketing, how to get people to be aware of what you do, or sales, the skill of getting people to buy your product, or product design, how do you craft a product people actually want, right? So there's all these different skills that you have within the context of entrepreneurship. And I was watching him and I was like, I would love to ask him, like, hey, what books, what courses, what mentors did you use to build those core competencies? And so I thought, well, I'm sure somebody out there has probably wondered the same thing. So maybe I can help you on your journey and just share with you some of the resources that I've used over the years that I found very valuable, ranging from books to courses to coaches and everything in between. So I'm going to give you guys a breakdown of the resources that I use to learn finance, to learn marketing, sales, product design, project management, and communication. So let's take it from the top. Finance. Finance is critical. It's the language of business. That is accounting in a nutshell. And you need to be able to speak it, because if you don't speak the language of finance, then you are beholden to the translators, the bookkeeper, the accountant, your CFO, to relay the information to you. And when you're relying on the translator, there's so many opportunities now in the chain for something to be misunderstood or misrepresented. So you need to learn how to speak the language of finance. And if you're not a finance major, I'm not. Like, money's like, looking at spreadsheets wasn't my jam. But the most valuable resource I found was Keith Cunningham's Keys to the Vault. I think it's called like the 4-day or 5-day MBA. It used to be a live event that he would put on 4 or 5 days straight, and you would get a master's class in business, but specifically within finances. And I think now it's available online, so you can take it at your own pace. I think it's like $4,000 or $5,000, worth every single penny. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to take your game of business seriously and you want to scale, take that course. It is priceless. Now, if you're cheapo and you don't want to spend that kind of money, but you still want to learn some numbers, a book that's really valuable is called Simple Numbers by Greg Crabtree. Go check that out. Do both. Honestly, there's no reason that you can't invest everything into your skills, into your knowledge, because that is the only thing that pays compounding dividends regardless of economic conditions. That is your skills. So, finance. Keith Cunningham, Simple Numbers. Oh, and funny story about Keith Cunningham, if you're not aware, he was the rich dad that Robert Kiyosaki is talking about in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? Like that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he tells it through the parable, and he has a rich dad and he has a poor dad. He never names the dad in particular, but the rich dad was Keith Cunningham. So that's the guy to go learn from. Number 2, let's talk about marketing. Marketing is the ability to make people aware of what you do, right? The more people that know that you exist, the more likely you are to grow your business. It's really just that simple. And for me, there's been 2 resources that I have found to be heads and tails above all others in the world of marketing. That is Russell Brunson. He had 3 great books, things like Expert Secrets, Traffic Secrets. I can't even remember the other one. There's 3 of them. He is the founder of ClickFunnels. I don't love ClickFunnels as a software, as a tool, but I love Russell's mindset around marketing. I love how he packages it, how he talks about it. It's very consumable, very easy to understand. I think it would serve you very well. The other person is actually came up through the Russell Brunson school in some ways, right? Through ClickFunnels, in fact, is Alex Hormozi. And in particular, Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Leads, I think is the best book that I've seen anybody write about how to generate and go get leads. You can also take the course that he has on acquisition.com. It's completely free. So you can just go watch it. You have no reason not to. It's totally free, and it's a priceless education. Number 3, sales. Okay, once we make people aware that you exist, we have to get them to give us their money, right? And there's tons of resources on this. There's so many books and so many videos that you should be watching. And what I do is I just follow a number of people. Like the person that I like the most is Jeremy Miner. If you watch him on Instagram, he also has a good YouTube channel. I like him because he focuses a lot on the tonality of delivery, not necessarily the specific words. That's important too, but he talks a lot about how we say what we say makes as much of a difference as what we say. And I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with when it comes to sales, is like, how do you actually use correct tonality? It's not something you can read in a book. Jordan Belfort has his book, Wolf of Wall Street. And I think he has a book on selling. I can't remember what it was called, but he talks about tonality in there too, right? This guy who's like, a master salesperson, he talks about tonality as much as anybody else. But when you read it in a book, you can't hear it. And so I think Jeremy Miner does a very good job of modeling it, and you can consume that. Another resource is, we did a video on this channel actually called the 7-Figure Sales Script. I walk you through the 9-step process, the script that I and my team use to make high ticket sales. Go watch that. It'll train you on everything. If you're interested in going even deeper, in the Beyond the Apex coaching program, we go really deep into that. So if you think that you'd be a good fit for that program, you're a 6-figure entrepreneur, you want to go to 7 figures and beyond, go to beyondtheapex.com and apply, and we'll see if you're a good fit. I'll be psyched to work with you, but spaces are limited. So number 4. This is all about product design now, right? So we have people aware that we exist. We have a way of getting them to give us their money. We have to have a product or a service to deliver to them, right? That makes sense. So I'm going to double up here and give Alex Hormozi another little pat on the head. His first book, $100 Million Offers, is fantastic for this. How to craft an offer so good people feel stupid saying no. Go read that book. Again, he has a course on acquisition.com. Very, very valuable. But 2 books that I read many, many years ago before Alex Hormozi ever even came on my radar. First book, my buddy gave it to me in like 2016. We were running a manufacturing company, and he gave me a book called Setting the Table by Danny Meyer. And I was like, this is a really weird book. It's a book about hospitality and running a restaurant. And I was like, what does that have to do with manufacturing? Didn't understand it until I read the book, and I realized, holy crap, customer service, that's all product design really is. It's all about like, how do you design an experience for a customer. That book, Setting the Table by Danny Meyer, fantastic. Another book in the very similar vein is called Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidarda. I think that's how you say his name. Very similar book, but good product design all revolves around customer satisfaction and customer enjoyment. And so those 2 books will help you tremendously on that. And then Alex's book will help you craft the technicals of the offer itself. Number 5, you have to have project management skills. You have to have the ability to manage complex projects, whether that's your own projects or your team's project, to be able to keep all the balls moving forward at the same time, right? Honestly, this isn't something that I read or took courses on. I kind of had to slap together systems for myself over time. One book that was very helpful was called The Goal by Eliyahu Goldratt, and Traction, 4Ds of, no, 4Ds is a different book, sorry. But Traction was also very good. Now, neither of those books, though, will help you with like the technical day-to-day of how do you run your life, your projects, and your energy management as an entrepreneur. And that's why I created the Hyper-Focus Masterclass, which runs through exactly the systems and processes that I use to run my life and like turn ADHD from a weakness into a strength. So again, if you want to check that out, you can go to beyondtheapex.com/ I think it's Hyper-Focus. I don't know. I think we sell it for like $50 or something like that. Super cheap. So that's everything I got on the topic of productivity and systems design. So go check that out. And last but not least, this is a fun one, is communication. So at the end of the day, we have to be able to communicate our message, whether that's to customers, whether that's to employees or to vendors or to whoever. Like we have to be able to communicate effectively if we want our ideas, our product or service to have any kind of impact on the world. And the best resource I've found for improving as a communicator, to learn how to speak ideas from the heart, is my buddy Rene Rodriguez. He wrote a book called Amplify Your Impact. I can't remember what it's called. This podcast, Amplified Impact, is very similarly named to his book. I think this one came out before his book, though, so I think he was copying me. But he runs one of the most powerful 2.5, 3-day live events for learning how to get in front of a stage or a group of people and speak from the heart, that in a way that connects. And that's not just if you want to be a keynote speaker, but also if you want to be able to stand up in front of a room of like your 5 employees and actually speak in a persuasive, impactful way. So go check out Rene Rodriguez. He puts out a ton of great content on Instagram. He's got his book. He's got a little bit of stuff on YouTube, but not a ton. But that's where I would start for those core 6 skills. Take that, pick one to be the focus of the next quarter. Don't try and like master all of these at the same time. Pick one, go deep on it, learn everything that you can. And if you turn this next year into a a process of developing all 6 of these skills, you're going to come out of 2025 way more potent as an entrepreneur and a founder than you came into it. And that is my hope for you, because I want to see you go make a ton of money and make a massive impact on the world, because I think that'd be rad. And if you don't think that would be rad, then I don't know why you watch this video or listen to this podcast, but I appreciate the hell out of you anyway. And you know what? Let's do it again tomorrow. I'll see you guys. See you then.